So, welcome back for part three of the Clancy album analysis. Picking up with Snapback, which is one of the simplest videos in the arsenal, but it's also not a bad video. Um, it has strong ties and vibe to car radio, just because it's Tyler shaving his head, so automatic response there. Uh, Dealing with the constant struggle of feeling like you aren't and going in the direction you want to go, that your relationships aren't going the way you want to go. Have I burnt all the bridges? Bite the hand that helps me, give it finger stitches. Blacklisted from forgiveness. Fool you once, it's been 25 times. It's a backslide. And, also going back to the lyrics for the song Backslide. And this whole song has Vessel era vibes of the contemplation of forgiveness, of what it means to actually struggle with grace, to struggle with where you're going, to struggle with just how you're living your life. So the video has Tyler getting his head shaved, but it's a lot less intense in terms of presentation than it was with car radio. He looks really like he was struggling and fighting in car radio. Now it looks like he's just kind of given up. But realistically, that's what it looks like. Is you might have a lot of fight in you at one point, but then you might feel like you have nothing left in you and end up giving up. The visual of him singing back and forth to the different versions of himself in the mirror is pretty strong. Not anything that we haven't seen before in terms of storytelling, via blurry face, via the person that woke him up during routines in the night. We know that there's something in there. And then one of the lines that hit is running from the thing that I kicked in 17. 2017 is around the era of Trench, when suicide was a big topic that they were focused on. Not that it's ever not a topic that they're focused on, as well as struggling with your faith, struggling with where you know who God is, where you stand with God. So that's just something that's kind of a strong breakout feeling of it. Got a bad feeling that I'm about to break. It's been a good streak, but the pressure's overweight. It's just it's a vibe that resonates. And then one of the lines, he says, "I've been praying for my elasticity to return to what it was." And because sometimes it really is just hard for us to actually bounce back to who we've been and who we want to be. So it's a hard place. We get Tyler dancing around in his little bed sheet for a little bit, but the girth of the video is just self-analysis, and this is a solid video to portray that type of attitude and heart. This brings us to Oldies Station, which is either my number 4 song on the album or 5 or 6. Who knows? Lyrically, it's great. Let's talk about the video real quick. You've got Tyler walking down the snowy path with his baritone ukulele, which I'm envious of and will probably buy one of. And you see the white pipage occasionally shifting in front of him, and then, which is a long gag to get to this point. But it also has a call back and answer vibe to the song. Almost like a worship song in that. But let's stop and talk lyrics real quick on this one. It says, "Only consistency in your periphery is fear in the bridge of your nose. As you move about, you learn to tune them out, but they continue to grow." And that's such a real, the line about like your periphery is fear in the bridge of your nose, because that's the constant that looks through life, is like you get the little bit of your nose you can see. like almost like a first person shooter game. And the rest of it is just the fear of what's coming, the fear of what's been past, and that those things are constant. And you just learn to move beyond them. In a fear of the past and relative pain, future's coming fast, and you got nothing in the tank. And then this line right here: in a season of purging things you love, things you used to love, everything must go. Make an oath and make mistakes. Start a streak you're bound to break. When darkness rolls on through, or when darkness rolls on you, push on through. And, I think it's just setting a solid tone for where this is going. And just, again, this whole album is just very reflective of where life is in this stage. And this has one of the hardest, softest lyrics at the same time, but we're going to get there in a second. The video cuts over to we see that it's really their director / cameraman pulling a sled with a camera on it, and Josh is grabbing PVC pipe, running back and forth to propel the camera rig forward. Now, let me just say, I've done something this ghetto before. I have 1,000% done something this ghetto in terms of making videos. So it was just hilarious to see this. And, it's always the joke with 21 Pilots of all the things that they put Josh through. But we get more of the remorseful lyrics of verse 2 says, then before you know, you lose some people close, forcing you to manage your pace. Found your capacity for love and tragedy, embracing how things always change. When you experience loss, you don't come out the same on the other side. When you lose a loved one, you are never the same. That goes for my dad. That goes for my mom. That goes for my grandma. That goes for miscarried children. That goes for friends. I've had losses that have taken chunks of me that I've never really bounced back from. And yeah, and then one of the courses, add some years, build some trust. You start to feel your eyes adjust. When darkness rolls on you, push on through. And I'm going to bounce back to the video for a second before getting to the girthy stuff that's in the bridge. The video cuts to, it looks like the whole camera rig has fallen over into a ravine. And Josh's drums are down there now. And so they're just playing from there as they go through the bridge. And just great video in terms of creativity. But the lines go, you don't quite mind how long red lights are taking. Push on through. For me, that's the realest thing. It's like, I at least get to be still for a minute. That's me when I pull into my driveway in my yard and I don't get out. I just sit in the driveway for 20 minutes. Because things are at least on pause and at peace. Your favorite song was on the Oldies station. That hits hard. Why Hootie and the Blowfish is on the Oldies station? I get it's 30 years old. I get the math. But dang it. You have it down to that old fight for survival. And this is the line that hit so hard. You're in the crowd at her first dance recital. Realistically, there's nothing that hits you as hard as knowing your kids are growing up. And moments like dance recitals, moments like awards, concerts, things like that make you feel older and a little bit more dying with every single one. And the fact that that's a lyric that's captured on song, I just really appreciated. The rest of the video after that just kind of turns into a making of, and it's still fun. It's still great. You get to see Jenna and Tyler being silly. You get to see them actually directing the real video with a camera that's not this ghetto rig that they put together. Overall, I enjoy this one. It's definitely a different vibe, but I am grateful for it. So at this point, let's move on to At the Risk of Feeling Dumb. And this song, again, like many of their stuff, has a lot to say and is executed really well. And the bulk of it seems kind of simple. Video starts out with Tyler standing on a hay bale in a field, which, by the way, that's one of my favorite things to do. Um, Running across those giant hay bales, fantastic. And, we just got Josh drumming, flipping off of hay bales on his drum kit, the whole deal. Um, but the whole heart is that this is a song about how you support people when they're struggling, how you love them when they're isolating. Because I know for me, when I'm struggling, I shut down and I get in a shell and I get quiet and I don't share what I'm struggling with. And I can't be the only person with that. But the video continually moves from Tyler being on a hay bale to a shed to a house. And they said that the thing that of it is that it was meant to be that it keeps elevating, that each scene change is them at a different higher elevation. And realistically speaking, I think that's a good visual because the stuff that burdens us ends up building up and escalating and getting higher and higher. The bridge of the song, at the risk of feeling dumb today, it's not worth the risk of losing a friend. Even if they say just keep your plans, I hope you never have to drop. The shot of Josh on the bridge, with Tyler beneath, fantastic shot, fantastic direction, great vibe. I just shout out to them for putting such a great video together, in that capacity. Lyrically, outside of the bridge, there's some good stuff in there. Just, saying, check on your friends, love your friends, make sure they're doing okay. Make sure that they aren't drowning in what they're going through. It's not the most complex song in terms of anything like that, but it is good. And then, at the final, really run through, they end up being on top of a skyscraper. And I will say this, that it is a very powerful visual to start from a hay bale in a field to seeing these two on top of a rooftop, just rocking out. And there's a point when you've got a really good shot of how high they are that Tyler jumps off the drum kit, and the dad and me's like, no sir, you don't do that, not that high up. But realistically, this is just a really good song of saying, check on your people, make sure they're doing okay, even if it's awkward, because you might be the one thing holding them together, and it's important. At the end of the video, he straightens up the Clancy scarf around his neck, and it just goes to black. And that brings us to our final song of the album, Paladin Straits, which, as I'm recording this on June, whatever date this is, 3rd, I don't know what day this is. Yes, it's the 3rd. As I'm recording this on June 3rd, the final video for Paladin Straits has not been released. They said it is coming early June, but it is not currently out. That it is going to be the video that has the last chunk of the storyline, the last chunk of the lore with this current branding of the storyline, and they were editing the video to get it right. And it seems like it's going to be pretty epic. So let's jump in here real quick. This is also a song that hits deeply and has some strong lyrical content. Again, it's not quite a banger or anything. It's more baritone ukulele, which, again, I'm here for all day. And it also has probably one of the stronger spiritual focuses within. Yeah, I would say that pretty easily. That it has one of the strongest spiritual focuses. This is also 21 Pilots' longest song singularly at 6 minutes and 28 seconds. But it also has a moment of silence and then a mid-credit scene for the song, so to speak. But the lyrics are, I can't be alone, guess I never told you so, making my way towards you. Tracing out a line, a route I've mapped 1,000 times, making my way towards you. Listen, I see this through my perspective. And for me, that's always, I'm trying to get back to God because I'm far and stupid. And that hits with me. And then with the chorus, I would swim the Paladin straight without any flotation. Just a glimpse of visual aid of you on the other shoreline waiting, expectations that I'm going to make it. Five Iron Frenzy song, On Distant Shores, which is song about Peter swimming across the sea, jumping out of the boat to get to Jesus. I get those vibes. I get the vibes of this, of being like Peter, that you're like jumping out of the boat, swimming towards the shoreline. And that line of just a glimpse, the visual aid of you on the other shoreline, waiting, expectations that I'm going to make it. The idea of going back to God for us seems maybe difficult at times because we're not sure we're going to make it. But God's confident in us because he knows where the story's going and he knows what he's going to do. That, again, this is my perspective, not saying it's theirs. Standing on the shore, staring down a hurtling storm, making its way towards me. Waters ripped with rage, endless row of angry waves, making its way towards me. Sticking with Peter, the calming of the storm, the fact that this is, if you make it to the shore, that the storms are coming, but you're not alone in it. Again, just my opinion. Here's the chance to make time to make it. Can't be sure that here's the chance, time to take it. Can't be sure that I'll make it, even though I'm past the point of no return. I'm all in, I'm surrounded, put my money where my mouth is, even though there's no point of no return. Now, again, I hit the Peter thing hard here with, because I also get strong Peter vibes from Backslide, which I mentioned earlier. And I mean, it's hard for me to shake that perspective after, kind of landing on it. When the song ends, we get an outro of the chorus changing to "On the ground are banditos, fighting while I find Nico, even though I'm past the point of no return, climb to the top of the tower, show yourself, I yell louder, even though I'm past the point of and it just cuts. And we get effects of someone walking through, and we hear the dark, distorted voice that says, so few, so proud, so emotional. Hello, Clancy. And I'm anticipating what this is going to be like visually, which is why we're waiting on a video for it. But, this is either triggering. I guess this might be what the word I'm looking for is the pinulative, like the next to last. Like if this is a storyline that they're telling, this hints to me that this is the next to last chapter. So like this album might be their next to last one. Who knows? I don't want them to stop making music. I enjoy this process. But yeah, that's it. I enjoyed watching the live stream. If you haven't watched the live stream, I highly recommend it. They also did a digital remains package for this album last week, and which came with a 121-page digital book with clues. And one of the clues that you decipher says still alive. So chew on that however you want. But I am going to wrap up here because I'm about to roll out and head on a road trip. I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. David Brooks, Jeff Weimer, Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, Matthew Coleman. The Coleman family, Jonathan Herman, Ron Petit, Tesh Norton, Jason Ward, Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn, I can't read today, Candace Davis, Jay Sheed, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perna, Todd Turner, John Jacobs, Zach Harris, Caleb Grimm, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Christina Ray, Sarah Lewis, Patrick Gale, Rebecca Godlove, and Adam Davis. Thank you all for being so amazing and supporting the way you do. And I hope you've enjoyed this Clancy album as much as I have. And I look forward to seeing you at a con soon.